Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge. Welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. And today on the show, today I'm sitting up in my office. I went back to my old way of intro. I don't know what slipped on me today. Today I'm sitting up in my office. I've got my art behind me, have my headset on as usual, got brown hair and brown eyes. I'm wearing a No Rules t-shirt because we kicked off our Values Not Rules part of our fundraiser for this week. And just a reminder that April 17th, which is Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 a.m., we're doing a marathon fundraiser. It's a live virtual event on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. So check it out. And today on the show, we have our new friend, Gabrielle. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am doing great. What you been up to today?
Not much. First, I'm going to start. I've got brown hair, about shoulder length. I am white, about, mid-30s, and we're in a green shirt, and we've got a blue beadboard background. I'm in my little office at our new Perry facility. So, yeah. That's me in a nutshell.
Well, thank you for introducing and describing yourself. And we're going to show everybody a picture of the outside of the building in a little bit.
Yes. Love my new building.
Yeah, I'm jealous of it.
Cool.
So tell us about you. Where were you born and raised? Where'd you go to school?
So I was born at Sparrow Hospital, so super local, and I am a third generation Hazlitt resident, which you don't find those very often. So my grandfather grew up on Lake Lansing, and then, my mom grew up in Hazlitt schools and in the area. And then, so I did K through 12 at Hazlitt, always was really happy with it, really loved it. And, obviously, we've got kind of that little lake that's the center of a lot of recreation and things like that. And then we moved away. I'm trying to think. It was around 2006. My husband got a job, and we moved to Massachusetts, and we were there about 5 years and never felt right. It just was not a good fit. And so as soon as we had our daughter Clara, she was maybe 9 months old, and then we moved back, and we definitely only looked at Hazlitt. We wanted to be near parents and things like that. So good experience. Love it.
Yeah. Was it good for you is that what you were talking about? Moving to Massachusetts,
yeah. I mean, it's obviously a good growing up, experience to move away and do something different and you're very much on your own when you do something like that. We had been married about a week when we moved.
Oh, wow.
Massachusetts, and we had nothing. We had a car and a box of dishes and a little dog, and that was what we started with. And so, it's definitely I look back fondly on those times because it was just me and my husband against the world, and it really created an awesome, foundation for our marriage. But I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah. Well, we're happy you're back.
Yes. Yeah. Love it.
So what you been doing since you came back?
So I moved back to be a part of our family business, Feighner Boat Lifts and Docks. My dad started that in 1987. And I was born in 88. So he was doing it originally, all through my childhood. And I definitely worked there in high school. I worked there in college, and I always liked it for sure. But then, there was sort of a job shortage in the area. So we kind of were forced into moving so that my husband could find employment. He's an engineer. But yeah, so eventually we just decided, no, we're putting the family business as a priority, and we're coming back. And it's been a crazy fast freight train experience from start to finish since we got back, and it's growth like crazy, and it's been really, really good. So
yeah. So what's your position at the company?
So I am VP of Business Development. So I do a lot of everything, but sort of my main focus is, we have a whole dealer network that we actually manufacture the boat lifts and docks for. And, that's definitely an interview process. There's like a courting process to find people who are willing to sell your product. So we have 3 retail locations in Michigan, but we also sell to people that have their own stores. And so part of my job is to go through, and if there's something that we think, or an area that we need a new store in or a new dealer, trying to pick those out. A lot of times we're very lucky, people seek us out, and it is more of an interview process from our perspective. And then on the flip side, I also do a lot of the retail stuff. So if there's something that people are missing, in the retail experience, getting their boat lift or dock from, the idea that they think they want a boat lift or a dock to actually getting one installed in front of their lake. We do, a lot of the DIY videos and lots of documentation online and lots of, phone calls and teaching and things like that to get people from like, hey, I think I want to do this, to, yep, here it is. And now you know how to use it and how to take care of it and all that sort of fun stuff.
Yeah. I grew up on, I didn't grow up on it. My grandmother lived on Pleasant Lake when I was young. So yep. I've installed and taken out tons of wooden docks and these poles in my hands, and it's freezing.
They're so heavy. Yeah, our lightest dock now is 91 pounds. So it's going to be like a half to a third the weight of what you were used to dealing with. So yeah, we definitely pride ourselves on it being, an easy system to install, but also pride ourselves on the fact that it's, we tend to overbuild in a good way, so that you have very, very few warranties or issues, and you can really kind of use and abuse it, and it stands the test of time. We have docks that have been out in the world over 30 years that still look awesome. So it's really, really kind of a unique situation. And then should anything need replacing as far as like a small part, we actually have an online store where people can go and buy that cable or buy that bolt that they need, and it just gets shipped straight to their door, which is really nice.
So there's a second part to your story too.
Yes.
So tell us that.
So, my husband and I like to remodel houses just in general. And I think we're on like house 3, 4, something like that. And I get into them sort of somewhat on purpose, but also on accident. So we moved back to Hazlitt, and I always love this one neighborhood in Hazlitt. And so we found this fixer-upper house and was just like, okay, let's buy it. Let's make it beautiful. And this is totally going to be our forever home. Fast forward a year, and I had just had my son. And so we have two little ones at this point, and we're living in this subdivision on a pretty small, the houses are pretty tight and everything. And it's beautiful. And neither of us love it. Like, it's gorgeous. You can't deny it. We did a great job, and the kitchen looks great, and the bathrooms look great, and whatever. But this house came up on the market down the road from my sister's house, and it's in between kind of Hazlitt and Langsburg, but it is Hazlitt schools. And the house looked terrible. From the photos, we almost didn't go and look at it. So we walked through this home, and it was just like, oh my gosh, this is home. I don't know why, because it's ugly. It's terrible. Like, everything's crumbling. Everything needs to be replaced. But it's on 10 acres, and it has this really cute red barn. And so it's pouring rain, and my husband, he runs to the back of the property, or what we think is the back of the property, and is like, yep, it's really big. And it was sort of during a housing downturn too, so it was really inexpensive too. And then we were like, yep, let's do it. Okay. And we bought it. And then it was like, now what do we do with it? We took everything to the studs, And so now we have this house that we fixed, and, it has a new steel roof, and same thing. The kitchen looks great and the bathrooms look great. And we've been mowing the fields, and that gets kind of old. So it's like, well, maybe we should get some animals that go in the barn. So we had originally started off with some sheep. And so we had some sheep, and then we got a llama to guard the sheep. And so Llama Judy is like Facebook famous, and she's on our Facebook page, Feighner Family Farms. And so Llama Judy is like a hit. And then all of a sudden, Llama Judy, she's very, very old. We bought a very old llama. And she got to the point where she just wasn't loving life. And then the vet said, well, maybe you should get her some friends. It's like, okay, we're kind of phasing out of sheep at this point, but my kids love Llama Judy. So we go and we buy 3 alpacas to be Llama Judy's friends. And they are amazing, and we love them. And now that was about a year ago. Now right. I own 21 at my house right now. And we do a lot of different things with them. And we do kind of like some, I don't want to say rescue per se, because nobody was being, it wasn't like a terrible situation that we've removed them from, but I've definitely taken a lot of alpacas from not being, yes, that one's not ours actually, but.
Oh, it's not?
No, that one is one of my mentors, and she's lovely, obviously, and is fancy. Yes, that one's mine. That's Jules. I love her to death, and I'm working on halter training her here. And then she's about a year and a half old. Yeah, I think there was. Oh, yeah, that one. Oh, that one's super small. That's Titanium. He's one of our studs. But yeah, so we've gotten, apparently that's baby Eva. Oh my gosh. Eva has a following online as well. That was right after she was born, and she's actually a Surrey alpaca. So she has the definition of a Surrey alpaca. Kind of the basic definition is that their hair grows parallel to the skin, so it drapes downwards. And so you can see she's not near as fuzzy as this one. This is one of our studs, Chocolate Rebel, and he's a Wakaya alpaca, and his hair grows out. So his grows perpendicular to the skin. But yeah, so as it turns out, I'm somewhat of an alpaca whisperer and trainer. So we've taken in, I think I'm at like 7 alpacas this year that basically people were just kind of fed up with them. Like, they're being naughty. We don't know what to do with them. We want out. Just take them. So we've definitely picked up many around the state and worked with training them and rehabbing them. And actually, I found homes for all of them at this point. So it's just a really neat experience. And I mean, we do have studs, obviously. So we are breeding on a pretty limited basis. And working with training, and I do have a couple that I think we're going to take to the show at some point as well. I've never been to an alpaca show. COVID shut everything down. So all the alpaca shows were canceled, just like everything else. So I've never actually been to an alpaca show, but Jules in the photo, where it's me up close with her, the chocolate brown one. Yes, Jules. I am going to be taking her to the alpaca show and walk her around. And I don't know what's going to happen exactly, but I'm going with one of our mentors, or we're going to try, obviously, is assuming it's still in place. But they just have this amazing, sweet personality. And we do select for that too. I visited one of my mentors' farms, and they have 100 alpacas. And she loved me, and I loved her. And again, my mentor, who's been, or one of them who's been in the industry a really long time, was like, no, you can't have her. I eventually got her, which has been really fun. And so she's definitely like my treasure doll for sure. But yeah,
She's
training
beautiful.
we just love it. The kids love it. My husband's loving it too. You know, and they're just the babies for sure. They bring joy. That's like literally all they do is they bring joy to people, whether they're animal people or not, can appreciate a fuzzy alpaca face.
Well, I was going to ask you if they had like a farming utility. Do you shave them and sell?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we do. So you have to shear them. And basically that's a once a year process. If you do not shear them, they can die from heat stroke. So it's really, really, really imperative that they get their yearly haircut. And then we make socks and hats and all sorts of stuff, and they are crazy soft. It is like the softest socks you'll ever wear. It's the softest hat, scarves, mittens, gloves, all of that stuff, and it's super, super warm. So it's warm, and it is like moisture wicking too. So we have tons of hiking socks that we sell every year now, and like I said, hats and gloves and all sorts of things that we have. And I have the fleece too. I also have people that just come and purchase the fleece after we've done their haircuts, and you know, you bag it all up and everything. And so I have people that make their own yarn that actually just buy direct. They just want just the raw off the animal fleece. So there's definitely a market for it. And ironically, it's kind of like the most sportsy people like the alpaca stuff the best, because they truly appreciate that it's the strongest natural fiber that's readily available on Earth. And so it's natural. They come in all of these beautiful colors. And so it's undyed. It's crazy soft. And yeah, it's a really, really cool product that people love. And a lot of people don't have access to. You know, most stores don't sell it. So it's definitely kind of a small corner of the market, but it's definitely there, which is interesting because we do run it as a business. I mean, I'm tracking expenses. It's Feighner Family Farms LLC. So, you know, all of our expenses, all of our income, I have all of that, you know, ready to rock and do taxes and all that fun stuff that goes with owning another small business. So.
All right. Hey, I told everyone that we'd look at that building. So there's your building that you were talking about, and I think it's just gorgeous.
I love it. My sister picked the color, and it's just cool. I mean, we started out. We bought this acreage on the side of I-69 in Perry. So our main flagship store is in Charlotte, Michigan, and that one's been at that location since about 2006.
Okay.
So it's been there quite some time, and we've put, I think it's 6 additions on since we actually bought the property. So essentially, we got to the point where we own so much acreage, and you're only allowed in rural parts of the country where there's no city water. So city water pressure, you can only essentially build on 50% of the land plot that you own. And we're basically at that point in Charlotte. So then we started looking, you know, for some more acreage. And this is actually right around the corner from our farm, which is really convenient. And it's 20 acres. And I mean, honestly, we love to just go walk around it on our breaks. And we started with, you can kind of see the buildings in like tiers there, with just the first 2 sections. And then we finished it and opened, and then basically had to shut right back down. We opened the store the Friday before the shutdown, which I think happened on a Monday. So then it sat vacant for a little bit. And then very quickly after that, we built the second chunk. And then, you know, we put on the last piece now, which is actually a drive-through area. It's really nice for loading trucks. I mean, we do a lot of outdoor work just in general, and to have a place that we can pull all the vehicles and the trailers in and put the product on is so, so nice for everybody. And then we actually have off to the left in that photo, I have another storage facility that we just finished this winter. And that is another 12,000 square feet. So right now the facility is up to 24,000 square feet, which
That's awesome.
is great. Yeah. And then we're hopeful that we can do another 12,000 square feet before the end of the calendar year. So,
so you make things like this, right?
yes.
In these buildings. That's why, I mean, you need a lot of space to kind of spread out.
We have a huge product. So, I mean, a tiny storefront's not going to work for us. It's just not. So most of the welding, all of the welding is happening in the Charlotte facility. And then the Charlotte location is really in charge of servicing all of the dealers. So anything pretty much that ships out of the Charlotte location is going to be unassembled, and it's going to go to somebody to do something with it, whether that's my location or whether it's another dealer. So essentially they're bringing over like 1 to 2 truckloads to the Perry location every week, and it's sold before it gets here. Yeah. So it is claimed, which is
good. It's great.
Amazing. I mean, we're so lucky, and it is crazy. It is crazy busy this time of year. The fact that you can't hear the phone ringing off the hook on the other side of the wall is a good thing. But I mean, we feel very, very lucky to be able to provide something that people love. But also the fact that they keep coming back. And I think one of the main reasons why people are choosing us over other dock manufacturers, because I mean, there's others, of course, there's always competitors. We're very upfront, we're very honest, and customer service. I mean, we make sure that if we say we're going to do something, we're going to do it. It's very few and far between instances where something slips through the cracks. So it's one of those things that I'm not going to try and sell you on something that I wouldn't have at my house. Yeah. All the stuff we test, all of our kids play on it, all the dogs are on it, all of that sort of stuff that where people, you buy something and maybe you're not happy with it. If that's the case, then we take care of it and we get you something that you want instead. And again, that's pretty few and far between, but it's really those trials that define how you are perceived, especially in the modern day where online reviews really dictate, the shoppers as far as where they're going. And I mean, I think we're the only actual manufacturer that has, we have all 5-star reviews, and someday that'll change. Someday somebody will come along that we won't be able to make happy, and they'll just blast us on social media or whatever. Hasn't happened yet, knock on wood. And, the people that are out there are really, really happy, and they know us by name, and they'll have people call back 5 years later and say, oh my gosh, Gabrielle, we worked with you. And now, now we have a baby, and now we need stairs to get the baby down, or the toddler wants to go dip his toes in the water, or whatever, you get little add-on things like that to spruce things up over the years, which is cool.
So there's a bunch of dudes in Charlotte that do the welding, and then they bring, is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm trying to lead you into something.
Yeah. So, all of our welders are in Charlotte right now. As far as male female ratio, manufacturing is definitely traditionally, a male dominated industry. And then, our company obviously was founded by my dad, so male, and, pops these 2 beautiful daughters.
Speaking of that, I hope you know him. I know.
You know him. That's my husband. We've been married 11 years, or almost 11.
Hi, David. Nice to sort of meet you.
Yeah. But yeah, so they, so my sister and I have grown up in the company, and definitely in the past, you come up against people that won't talk to you because you're female and they think you don't know what you're doing, and it's like, I've been doing this 15 years. I know I look like I just walked off the street, but so there is some disparity when it comes to things like that. And thankfully, as the years have gone on, it is getting so much fewer and far between. It used to be almost daily, occurrence that, I'd go pick up nuts and bolts or whatever, and then you'd have people sneering at you and saying, oh, these parts girls get hotter and hotter every year, and like weird things that you're just like, oh God, don't do that. And it's almost worse when people just refuse to straight up talk to you because of your gender. And it's like, okay, well, I'm a partial owner in the company. So if you really want to be talking to me, if you have an issue. But again, like I said, it is fewer and far between than it was. It is much less common. And we actually do now employ 4 women out of our group. So I have 2 women in each location. And it takes a special person to do this kind of job. And gender's irrelevant at that point. I mean, it's hard, fast, as much as you can take for like 5-6 months out of the year. And then, people have to be okay giving up some of the beautiful weather in Michigan. You really have to be able to enjoy some of the fall weather, because that's when we're able to take more time off. Right. But yeah, a lot of people, for all of our employees, it's not really just a job. Nobody's walking out the door and saying like, I don't care, or I don't want it to be correct. Most of our employees have been with us a very long time. I definitely have young ones too. As you do, as we're growing, we are hiring, obviously. But for the most part, once people get a job and a skill set in with us, they really do stay. So I think my longest standing employee right now is 20 years, 19, 20 years. And then the second longest is at around 15. And I have a lot of people in that 10-year zone, which is really, really nice. It's definitely a family that we've kind of put together from all walks of life and all skill sets, because you've got people doing marketing, which would be, my sister. And then you've got people who are welding, and you've got people that are driving, because we do use all of our own drivers. So you've got people that are over the road driving regularly, and they're not actually in the facility very much, but they're definitely still part of the team. And you've got machinists. We actually machine all of our own parts too. So we've got, CNCs running all the time, and that's a different person, different skill set. But overall, we really do get along really, really well. And I'm thankful for that, because, it just makes working so much easier.
What would you say your mission is?
My mission, I would say personally would be, I'm trying to do the right thing. As far as, so I know that's really vague, but like when you're faced with a situation, try and make the right choice, the moral choice, if you will. And I want to be obviously a good mom, a good partner, and good business owner, good business leader for, both of the businesses. And so it all comes down to the choices that you make on the daily, because your small choices snowball. Yeah. If that makes sense. Yeah. It can dictate your paths in life. And so I try to make sure that I'm on the up and up and doing, making the right choices, even if that means you have a crappy day because of it. Because it can happen for sure. So
what do you do every damn day to kind of push that forward? Is it that right choice, or is it?
Yeah, I would say as far as the right choice is good, but then also I you very rarely find me sitting. And I definitely, I have my weekend downtime for sure, just like everybody else does. But I'm not going to be the one that when you're stuck in a place or stuck doing something you don't want to be doing, because I mean, we all have those facets of our job, obviously. Just do it and do the next right thing and keep going, because you know that forward motion is just so important. And then to sit and wallow, even though you maybe really want to that day, it's just not a choice. It's not a choice that I make ever. And you know, obviously you have moments where you slip up or whatever, but it's one of those things that I try and just keep going, and I keep ticking along. And even if you can't have like a clear path to like quote unquote the right thing or whatever your goal may be, as long as you're making decisions that don't harm you along the way, it's all for the greater good.
Thank you. So we daisy chain the shows together, and yesterday on the show we had one of your friends. We had Justine Bell.
Justine, yeah.
And the question that she wanted me to pass to you is, what character in media or theater or whatever do you most relate to, and why?
Okay. I thought about this a lot, actually. My go-to would be like Wonder Woman, duh. I mean, that's but then I was like, yeah, okay, let me think a little harder on it. So I'm gonna pick a little bit of a ditzy answer, and I'm gonna say Elle Woods from Legally Blonde. I don't know if you've seen the movie. I grew up in that generation where like everybody watched that movie all the time. And she's kind of a BA. I mean, she shows up, she applies to Harvard, she gets in and basically just flabbergasts everybody when they think that she just can't do it. And again, she just keeps going. It's like I said, it's kind of a little bit of it's a comedy movie. And so it's not some serious literary answer, but I mean, she comes in and she gets it done. And I think that you see that with Reese Witherspoon in that role, but you also see that with Reese Witherspoon in general, she's definitely made waves in all of the, movie production space, and promoting strong female leads, like from start to finish. So yeah, Elle Woods / Reese.
Nice. So tomorrow on the show, we have Bob Hoffman with Epiphany Now. And what question would you like to pass to him?
Okay. So the question that I want to pass to him is, all right, let's say we are pre-pandemic or post-pandemic, whichever one you want to pick. And you're having people over to your house, or me, or whoever you want to say. What are we eating? And what are we going to do? And then who else is there going to be if you're to throw this like fictional dinner party?
Okay, so if I come to your house, what are we eating? What are we doing? And who else is going to be there?
I'm going to go with, for what are we eating? Unless you tell me you're like vegetarian or something, which we would grill something too, but outdoor food, especially this time of year. So we'd be grilling like chicken or brats or something along those lines. And then, if we get really lucky, my husband makes an amazing, like pastry with like fruit in it.
Okay. So as long as it's not alpaca. Then...
No, fruit. No, we don't eat the alpacas. Some people in the world do, but we don't. Yeah. So yeah, it'd be grilled food plus an awesome summer dessert. What would we be doing? Would be we would absolutely go outside and see the alpacas. We have 2 babies that we're training right now, and we'd hook them up to the leashes and walk them all over. And we have a group of boys too, and they're always funny to watch because they're very loud and just run around and wrestle and do all sorts of silly things. So yeah, we would definitely be out in the farmyard. And then who would be there? Probably my sisters. So we have two sisters or I have two sisters in our family, one that I work with and one that lives just down the road. So we are with the sisters, and there's a boatload of kids between and dogs between the group. So it's crazy every time, and it's loud, but that's what we do.
Well, I'm bringing my wife and 4 grandkids with us. So,
yeah, go for it. Anytime.
What is happiness, and are you happy?
Happiness to me is, I think, being able to find joy in things. So I would say I definitely am happy. I've been married a long time, love him to pieces. My kids are great. Everything quote unquote on paper looks wonderful, but then it's how do you feel about it at the end of the day, So going home, being the boss during the day, for our manufacturing facility, and then being able to do that and really enjoy that and have an awesome group of people, and then being able to come home with the kids and be able to play outside and, enjoy the weather. And whether that's snowy weather, sunny weather, doesn't really matter. We're outside with the animals anyways. And then just being able to go home and do, work with the alpacas and, draw out their personalities and, just hang out and do non-computer things, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, just socialize with our group. And I would definitely say that I've hit that point in my life where I'm really settled. I'm really happy. I'm really good with where I'm at.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Which I know is very, very lucky, because not everybody has that for sure.
Yeah. What gives you hope?
I like to think that most people are good, and a lot of people say, and I've said it before too, oh gosh, I just hate other people. Why are we, why even bother? I like to think that most people are going to make good decisions. And, if you see someone who needs help, that a lot of people are going to come running to help in most cases. I surround myself with people like that. And you read stories on the news about it too, where people are, just somebody's up against some trial, and they were in their time of need, somebody came in and helped, and that's the sort of stuff that gives me hope for sure.
Awesome. Here's someone who needs help. What's your website?
Yeah. I've literally bags sitting over, like, right behind the computer screen of fiber, because
What's your website?
So we're FeighnerFamilyFarms.com.
All right.
And it's under construction, because again, we just do it like when we can squeeze it in. I'd rather be out training the animals. But our Facebook page is really active. So if you just type in Feighner Family Farms on Facebook, I post a lot of content as far as how to train your alpacas, or the method that I'm using. There's like very, very few resources online as far as like how to interpret their behavior and how to work with them. And so I'm just winging it. I'm making up my own process. And I've had people who've been in the industry a long time just be like, wow, that's awesome that you can do that. And I'm like, I'm just winging it. We're gentle with them, obviously. And, they respect us and we respect them. And yeah, so that
I'm gonna just put that up on the screen real quick, because
yeah.
I want to get it out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It didn't post on Facebook the way it's supposed to.
Oh,
yeah,
it. Okay. But yeah, Facebook, I post compulsively on Facebook about the farm. So it's probably, you're getting at least an update pretty much daily, as far as like, this animal did this, or, oh, we did this with training, or, oh, we fixed this on the barn and, we're really happy with how it turned out, or whatever. Just lots of fun stuff.
So did we forget to talk about anything?
I don't think so. just the fact that I'm an odd mix match of like manufacturing, like very steel industrial, and then we go home and it's like dirty and like manure and fuzzy faces, you know. So I'm an oddball. I recognize that, and people are like, "What? You do what?"
I think I just want to reiterate something.
Mm-hmm.
Manufacturing has been male led traditionally, and you guys are changing that. And um, all the young girls, all the young women, all the women, all the old women, whatever you want to describe them as, you
Mm-hmm.
can. There's a group in Detroit called Women Who Weld, and I did a little bit of work with them when
Okay.
we were
Yeah.
trying to set up our welding, and I think it's awesome that you're doing that. We need to
Yeah.
remove barriers.
Well, yeah, and as far as I mean, for my family, I mean, we're lucky, you know, how we were raised. It wasn't even a discussion. It was like, you want in, come on over, you know.
Awesome.
It's not even a discussion. Um, and I hope that it becomes more like that. But I mean, there are, as far as welding goes, and I'll be the first one to say that I can't weld.
I can't weld either. I've tried to learn.
I rely on the experts to do that. And I do, you know, a lot of the sales stuff up front and, you know, talking with customers and shaking hands and all that sort of stuff. And some of my welders are like, nope, don't want any part of that. So like I said, I'm the first to say that I am not able to actually do the welding, but as far as doing some of the other processes, like I definitely know how to do it. Again, we're very familiar with construction and things like that in my personal household, but then also how we were raised. You know, my dad taught us how to charge a boat battery and do all of those things that you need to do around the water and in other places. And it just wasn't even an option. I mean, he shared his knowledge, and you know, my mom did too, and it was what it was. But yeah, I someday, obviously, I hope that more women could be working in the manufacturing space, because it is, you know, it's reliable and there's a need, and you know, it pays well, and it's a good place to be, and you know, we really enjoy it. And it is changing. Like I said, it's markedly different than when I was, let's say, 16, 17, 18. I realize I look older too, so that is part of it that has changed, but it is so much better than it has ever been. And, you know, again, running into issues with sexism and things like that, it has gotten much more rare, which
Well,
I'm appreciative of.
you're digging a channel, and the water will make it deep.
Yep. Again, working on it. Yeah, just keep fighting the good fight. That's what we do.
What would you like to take us out with?
Yeah, so I'm gonna do a combo quote, sort of a quote.
Okay.
So again, we're seasonal, not, I don't want to say seasonal, but we get crazy busy in the summer. So we're busy, and you've got multitasks going everywhere. You've got the phone ringing off the hook. My dad would always say, just stop for a second, think about it, and then pick something to accomplish. You know, stop, reevaluate, and then move forward. And then, so yeah, I mean, that's really the best advice that I've gotten as a professional in any industry, really. It's not just necessarily manufacturing, but stop, just retabulate, sit down, and then pick one thing and finish it, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. And then that's really been you know, a cornerstone of, as far as the playlist in my mind that happens all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be what I would want to share with people. And it is so basic, but it is so easy to get caught up and not do that.
Yeah. That's great advice. Well, thank you for telling us your story. Thank you for telling us about your two businesses. And I don't know if the house flipping is another business you might get now.
That's just like a hobby that we do by accident.
So thank you very much, everyone. We will see you tomorrow on every damn day at 2 p.m. And we will see you later. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
See you, everyone. Have a great